Today, we're going to break down a system for changing your life that wasn't dreamed up in some think tank. Nope, it was forged in a moment of absolute life-altering trauma. This is the incredible story of how a catastrophic injury became the blueprint for one of the most powerful frameworks for building a better, more resilient life.
It all starts right here. In 2008, a devastating baseball bat injury left college athlete James Clear with a fractured face, multiple seizures, and severe cognitive fog, a moment that shattered his dream of large, immediate success. Just try to put yourself in his shoes for a second. You're a young, promising athlete. Your whole world, your identity, is built on your physical strength and a future that seems totally clear. And then, in one violent instant, it's just gone. Not just your physical ability, but the mental clarity to even figure out what happened. This isn't a minor setback. It's the complete demolition of the future you thought was a sure thing. And a moment like that either breaks you or it forces you to rebuild, piece by tiny piece. And that moment, that fall, that's where this story really kicks off. It's the fire that forged his entire philosophy. Because in that state, the idea of some big, heroic comeback, the kind you see in the movies, it just wasn't on the table. The damage was too deep. The path forward was a total blur of pain and confusion. So he had to let go of any grand ambitions and pivot to the only thing he had left, the power of doing something incredibly small.
And this really lays out the origin story of his whole idea. His dreams were shattered, no question. But right there, in the middle of all that physical and mental chaos, he found a new way forward. He couldn't think about winning championships. Heck, he couldn't even think about playing again. He had to focus on just getting through the next few minutes. So he traded those huge, overwhelming goals for what he called marginal gains. And what does that actually look like? Well, it looks almost ridiculously simple. It meant cleaning his room. It meant reading just one single page of a book. His recovery wasn't some epic comeback story. It was a slow, methodical, systematic laboratory for making 1% improvements day after painful day.
That whole ordeal, the long, slow grind of just trying to recover and catch up in school, it led him to this massive realization. It's a conflict that sits at the very heart of how we all try to get better. He figured out, the hard way, that there's a fundamental flaw in our obsession with goals, and a hidden, almost secret power in building a daily system.
And this right here is the heart of what he discovered. Look at the difference. Goals are all about the destination, the finish line. Yeah, they give you a temporary burst of motivation, but what happens when you get there? Or, more likely, what happens when you don't? Your happiness gets tied up in this one single outcome. But systems, they're totally different. The focus is on the trajectory, the process itself. It's continuous. You get to feel good about the progress you're making right now, today. Clear realized something huge. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. The goal isn't what separates them. The system is everything.
Which brings us to the core revelation, the philosophy that his whole system is built on. It's this simple, but honestly world-changing idea of the 1% improvement. It completely throws out the story of dramatic overnight success. Instead, it focuses on something quieter, more methodical, and, it turns out, infinitely more powerful, the compound effect of tiny atomic habits.
Just look at that number, 37 times. This one number shows you the absolutely staggering power of these tiny gains. If you get just 1% better at something every day for a year, you're not just 365% better. Because of compounding, you end up nearly 37 times better. Now, here's the scary part. It works in reverse too. Getting 1% worse every day brings you almost down to zero. That's the brutal math of atomic habits. Small choices that seem insignificant on their own, when you repeat them over and over, they add up to truly remarkable results. It's a quiet force for sure, but it might just be the most powerful one for change in the entire universe.
Okay, so how do you actually get those 1% improvements to stick? This is where the big mindset shift comes in. Identity before results. See, most of us, we start with the outcome. We say, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to write a novel. Clear System just flips that on its head. The focus isn't on the what, it's on the who. You start by deciding on the type of person you want to become. A writer, a healthy person. Then, every single little action you take is like a vote for that identity. Going to the gym isn't about losing weight anymore. It's a vote that says, I'm the type of person who is healthy. Writing one page isn't about the novel. It's a vote for, I am a writer. You're literally proving your new identity to yourself, one small win at a time.
So if that's the philosophy, how do we put it into action?
Because, philosophy is great, but it's not much use without a practical plan. And this is where a clear system becomes this brilliant piece of engineering. He basically treats self-improvement not as a test of willpower or motivation, but as a design problem that needs a smart solution.
And here it is, the blueprint, the 4 laws of behavior change. This is the owner's manual for building good habits and, just as importantly, breaking bad ones. Let's run through it real quick. For a good habit, you want to make the cue, the trigger, obvious. You want to make the craving attractive. You've got to make the action itself as easy as possible. And finally, the reward has to be satisfying so your brain wants to do it again. And for a bad habit, you just flip them, make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. See? This isn't about trying harder. It's about designing a smarter environment where the good behavior is just the easiest path to take.
So how do we actually apply those 4 laws? We do it with these specific systems. First up, environmental design. This is all about changing your space to make good habits obvious and bad habits invisible. Want to run in the morning? Put your running shoes right by the bed. Next, habit stacking. You link a new habit you want to start to one you already do. The formula is simple. After my current habit, I will do my new habit. So, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Then there's the 2-minute rule, which is just pure genius for making things easy. You scale down any new habit so it takes less than 2 minutes. Read every day becomes read 1 page. The point is to just master the art of showing up. And finally, habit tracking. You create a visual of your progress, like putting an X on a calendar. It's satisfying, and you won't want to break the chain, which helps you avoid those 0 days where nothing gets done.
So, when you pull all of these pieces together, the devastating injury, the hard-won revelation about systems, and this brilliantly engineered plan, you get this incredible story of return. But it's not a return to the person he was before. It's a transformation into someone far, far more impactful. I mean, just think about the scale of that transformation. From a student battling severe cognitive fog just trying to get by, to a global authority who literally codified the science of behavior change for millions. He didn't just get better, he used his own painful recovery as a real-world lab to create a system that anyone can use. He's living proof that the greatest achievements in life rarely come from a single heroic act, but from the most unglamorous, relentless, day-in, day-out, incremental effort. And this quote, for me, this is the core of everything he teaches. It is so, so powerful. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. We all have goals, right? But when the pressure is on, when you're stressed or tired, you don't magically rise to the occasion. You default to your habits. You fall back to the level of your systems. And that is why building a better system is 1,000 times more valuable than just setting a bigger goal. Your system is what catches you when your motivation disappears.
So what does this all actually mean for you, listening to this right now? The whole point of this explainer isn't just to sit back and admire James Clear's story. It's to give you the fundamental tool he learned so you can start applying it literally right now. It's all about taking your first tiny atomic step.
So let's make this real. Let's use the 2-minute rule together, right now. Just think of one habit you want to build. Maybe it's meditating, or reading more, or learning a new language. Okay, got it? Now what's one tiny action, something that takes less than 2 minutes, that you can commit to doing today? Not tomorrow, today. Put on your running shoes. Open the book to the first page. Log into that language app. That's it. That is your first vote for the person you are choosing to become. At the end of the day, James Clear built his entire empire on this hard-won truth. Systems are always superior to goals. His journey proves that real, lasting change is a product of your identity and those tiny marginal gains, not some heroic burst of willpower. And it leaves us with this one undeniable rule. The grand destiny of your tomorrow isn't waiting for you in the future. It's being built right now in the tiny, deliberate actions you choose to take today.